like to take a few minutes with you to see some of the questions you may have about either Surah As-Saffat or questions about fasting Ramadan and the rules of fasting, which we explained before, but we didn't have a chance to take your questions. So if you have questions, please go ahead and share with everybody. Please have a seat. The question is, if your wife has an ulcer, or anybody in your family, and he or she cannot fast, he's asking, is that okay? It is okay not to fast for a medical condition that may get worse by fasting. And the makeup of this, because the person cannot fast after Ramadan either, then terminal illness is compensated for by what's called fidya. فَمَنْ كَانَ مِنْكُمْ مَرِيضًا أَوْ عَلَى سَفَرٍ وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ يُطِيقُونَهُ فِدْيَةٌ. Those who could, if they fast, they could hurt themselves, then they should make fidya. What is fidya? Fidya طعام مسكين. Fidya is every day they miss, they feed a poor person. Okay? Okay, very good question. Shukla. Anyone else? If you have a question? Pregnant women, they are not required to fast. They have a license to break the fast. Likewise, breastfeeding women have a license to break the fast and to make up later if they can. If they can't, then they also pay fidya. They pay fidya as soon as they determine that they will not be able to fast. Like, for example, a woman is pregnant, but the doctor told her that you cannot breastfeed your baby for whatever reason. Then after the birth of the baby, and she is clear from the blood, she can start making up the missed days. So she doesn't have to make fidya. If she's breastfeeding, she needs to make a fidya. Okay, yes. Yeah, do we have to fast missed days consecutively, one after another directly? No, you don't have to. Another question related to this, do you have to make it immediately in Shawwal? You better do it if you could. But it is a duty or a loan or a debt that you owe to Allah, and you could pay it off or make it up anytime before the next Ramadan. Yes. Could Zakat al-Fitr be paid early in Ramadan? Yes, you could pay it early in Ramadan. But remember that the ultimate purpose of Zakat al-Fitr in particular is to make sure that poor people do not go begging in the Eid day. So if you give them some help early on and they go begging on the Eid day because they are done, then this will be against the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, in which he said, اغنوهم عن السؤال في هذا اليوم. Let them not go begging on the day of Eid. So the purpose is to offer poor people a chance to stop begging in the day or days of Eid. So paying it later helps achieve that purpose. Okay? But it is okay if you pay early on. People who have diabetes, it will depend. Diabetes is a situation where the blood sugar is not absorbed into the cells of the body, so it stays high in the blood. That is a disease, and it can cause certain negative repercussions and prognosis. So people who have diabetes, it's either one of two. Either you are on oral medication or insulin medication. I will need your help, Dr. Mustafa. So if you are on oral medication and the doctor told you to take your medication 3 or more times a day, then you need to follow the doctor's plan. Okay? If you are on insulin and the doctor told you take it before you eat, for example, the short-acting insulin, then it is tied to your food and meal time. And this could be taken with the suhoor, as you could take it also with the breaking of the fast. So in the case of taking insulin, the purpose of insulin or oral medication is to tackle the sudden shot of high sugar into the blood with the meals. So if you're taking it with your meals and your meals become 2 a day instead of 3, which is the suhoor and the breaking of the fast, the iftar, then take it with the 2 meals and you can avoid the whole day. Fasting is good for diabetes, because what is diabetes? Diabetes is when you raise the sugar in your blood. So if you don't eat, the sugar normally doesn't go up unless it is induced and triggered by stress or other factors. But if it is only limited, that it goes high when you eat, then not eating, which is fasting, should be good for diabetes. I want to give a chance to Dr. Shamma. No, if you have low blood pressure, you must follow the doctor's instruction, because that could be dangerous. Okay? Dr. Shamma.
As far as diabetes, it's individual cases. You cannot say something for everybody. Like the Sheikh said, if you are on oral medication, most of them taken once or twice a day. So you can adjust it to the suhoor and to the iftar. And some of them even taken once a day. They are long acting. For the insulin, it depends, if you're not taking the insulin, if the blood sugar go too high. And we have machines that the diabetic patient is able to check their blood sugar. So, and Wallahu A'lam, Sheikh, checking the blood sugar with the finger stick does not break the fast.
No, it does not.
Yeah. So if they can check their blood sugar during the fasting and it's not too low or too high, they can continue fasting, inshallah. So it is case by case, inshallah. If the sugar goes down, you need to eat, that you break the fast.
جزاك الله خير. Okay, any more questions about fasting?
What is about the injection when anybody fasted and they need the injection?
Injections do not break your fast, no matter what is in the injection. Same is drawing blood, unless they take a lot of blood that causes you negative influence on your overall health, then follow the doctor's order on that day. You pay, the question is, we pay zakah for our kids normally when they are living with us and young. What is the cut-off age? Well, the cut-off is not the age. The cut-off is whether or not they are your dependents. If you are not their sponsor, that means they sponsor themselves, they are responsible for their own zakah. So it's not a cut of age, it is a cut of the economic umbilical cord. Yes. Any other question? We're getting good questions. Yes.
If you're traveling from, let's say, from one time zone to another, like from here to California, and you're fasting, who do you follow? Which city do you follow?
Well, you follow the city of departure at the time of departure. So, if, for example, you're leaving at 7 o'clock in the morning and the Fajr is 4:30 or 4:15, you fast. You make the niyyah and you fast until you take off. When you take off, you are to choose whether you want to fast the day, because when you take off, you are actually traveler. You are on travel, right? When you are on travel, you have the license to break the fast for that day and make it up later on. Okay? But if you decided you want to fast, then you will follow the sunset wherever you are. Okay? My humble understanding is it is for time zone differences. If travel is an excuse for breaking the fast in Ramadan, then traveling through time zones is much more a bigger license to break the fast than traveling in the same time zone, because it changes the whole concept of time. So either, let us say, if you fly west, then the day will become extremely longer than normal depending on how many time zones you cross. And if you travel east, the day will be much shorter, right? So in both cases, it drives to extremes. So my humble suggestion is, when you travel through time zones, east or west, break your fast, you have the license, and make up the missed days after Ramadan. Okay. Any other question? We're taking questions about fasting. Ramadan, yes. Well, the suggestion is ask about Salat al-Taraweeh, that there are two statements made by the Prophet. One is that you should stand for the Taraweeh until the Imam is finished. And the other that says that praying Taraweeh at home is better. That's what you say. Witr? Yeah. Well, if the Imam prays Taraweeh, you stay with the Imam until he's finished. Okay? Witr is better at home if you are by yourself. But witr with the Imam is better as part of concluding the night prayer. The only time you break away and not pray witr with the Imam is if you are going home to continue night prayer, tahajjud, then you pray after you finish your tahajjud at home. But if your night prayer itself will finish with the Taraweeh, you're not going to go for tahajjud later on, then you pray the witr with the Imam.
If you have any
I said that. I said if you have a plan to make tahajjud, then the witr should be the last prayer at night. اجعل صلاتك من آخر الليل وترا. In another narration, اجعل آخر صلاتك من الليل وترا. Okay? So make your last prayer at night the witr, rak'ah. But
if he decides to pray, even though he prayed what, he can still pray.
if you have a plan to pray, then follow your plan, because the Prophet ﷺ said, make witr your last prayer at night. So if you insist that you pray after witr, this I would see as a violation of the instructions of the Prophet ﷺ. But if you pray witr and you didn't have a plan to make tahajjud, but then it happened that you woke up late at night before Fajr and you want to pray, you can pray twos and twos and twos, whatever the number is, and then don't pray witr again, so that you keep the witr as one witr at night.
Yeah, because sometimes, if you come early before Fajr time, so then you already prayed witr, so you can pray to 1 hour.
But don't make it your plan.
No.
That's all the point. Ya marhaba, ya marhaba. Ahlan wa sahlan. I want to welcome Sheikh Ahmed Naeem Asi. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give him full cure and speedy recovery. Ya Abdul Rahman, you may make him here, right at this column. Yes. Are people engaged in jihad excused from siyam? The answer is yes, because jihad requires rigorous physical activities plus tension plus stress, and the most important issue is the Prophet ﷺ ordered his companions when they were going for jihad to break the fast. And when some group of youth said, no, we can fast and make jihad, the Prophet ﷺ says, أُولَئِكُمُ الْعُصَاةُ أُولَئِكُمُ الْعُصَاةُ أُولَئِكُمُ الْعُصَاةُ. These are the disobedient ones. So if anyone is engaged in jihad, physical jihad, defending their land or whatever, then they need to break the fast to follow the sunnah and make it up later on. Okay, we're still taking questions about fasting. Anyone who has a question, raise your hand. Yes. I said twice, do not make this your plan. If you want to make tahajjud at home, then don't make witr before you make the last 2 rak'ah of your night. Because the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ says, let the witr be your last prayer at night. Clear? Okay. At what stage can stop fasting? As soon as the doctor tells her not to fast, or as soon as she discovers and is certain that she is pregnant, she has a license to break the fast. Okay. Very good. Any other questions? As I mentioned, if you are traveling overseas, east or west, through several time zones, what you do is you break the fast as soon as the flight takes off, because you become a traveler on travel. Okay? But so long as you are still in town, you have not taken off, you don't have a license.
But they know they are traveling like after 3 hours flight.
Knowing does not substitute for actual traveling. The license is given for the actual traveler, not for those who know or think or plan to travel.
So they're gonna fast and they will break and they will take off.
Yes. If the airline offers iftar or suhoor meals, the question is, what is the situation? Well, I said that if you are already a traveler through several time zones, you end up either fasting much longer if you're traveling west, or much shorter if you're traveling east. And I said that the answer to this situation is to break the fast that day, right? Until you land, and you calculate how many days have you missed and make it up later on, irrespective of how delicious the airline meals may be. So you're saying that I can change my travel schedule instead of shifting my fasting days? Then you could do it, but their question is different. So this has nothing to do with their question. Okay, any other question? Yes.
The intention must be every day or one for the whole month?
Yeah. The intention for fasting, does it have to be every night, or could it be one intention for the whole month of Ramadan? Definitely it could be one intention for the whole month of Ramadan, because it is like the Hajj. You don't make intention for Hajj every day you are in Hajj. You go into the activities of the Hajj and until you finish, and it takes several days to get those done. So scholars have divided into two camps, as they normally do. One that says you must make the intention for each night for the following day, because it reflects the renewal of your commitment, because every day you fast, you break the fast at night. So it requires intention every night. The other opinion says when you make an intention once in the night of the first night of Ramadan to fast the first day and the whole month, that intention covers the requirement of intention for throughout the month. So you have these two opinions, okay? If you want my opinion, do it every night, and if you forgot, you have your other intention to do it the whole month, okay? And basically, when you take suhoor, it reflects your intention, right, to fast the following day. So suhoor can become an expression of intention. Okay? Yes?
Is your Friday class going to continue?
No, we will because this is the iftar time starting tomorrow. So if you want to leave your iftar to come to the class, no, what we will do is we will have a class 10 to 15 minutes before the Isha prayer, inshallah. Yes.
Yeah, my sister is.
Yeah, is there a relationship between fasting and being too sick to stand for Taraweeh? If her sickness is only gonna stop her from standing, but she can fast.
She has a stomach problem, but she can pray.
She can pray, but she cannot fast.
Fast,
Yeah, fasting and prayer are separate when it comes to fiqh. So if she cannot fast, she still can make the Taraweeh.
Okay.
Well, the question is, when something is obligatory, like fasting Ramadan, then why do we need intention since we are required to fast anyway? Well, fasting has two pillars. One pillar is the intention. The second pillar is to abstain from food, drink, and sexual activity. So the intention is a pillar that is required for any ibadah, not only fasting. When you come to pray, you have to, they say, تجمع النية, to resolve your intention. Likewise, fasting. So intention is required. Why is it required? Because the hadith of the Prophet cited in all books of hadith is إنما الأعمال بالنيات وإنما لكل امرئ ما نوى. All actions are compensated for or rewarded based on the intention behind it. The intention defines whom are you doing what you're doing for. For example, in Ramadan, نويت صوم رمضان إيمانا واحتسابا لوجه الله الكريم. In Hajj, you say لبيك اللهم حجا or عمرة متمتعا بها إلى الحج, which means you are doing it for Allah. So the intention defines this. While the intention is real place is the heart, but there are some ibadah, like Hajj in particular, that requires a statement for intention, because Hajj is not just one way. Hajj has three options: either ifrad, or tamattu, or qiran. So Hajj requires the spelling vocally of the intention to define what kind of Hajj you intend. But for Ramadan, for your prayer, for anything else, it is enough that the intention is in your heart and it is confirmed by your action. So for example, when the muazzin makes the adhan and you rush to make the wudu, that reflects your intention. Your heart has your intention, and there is no 10 different prayers that you have to choose from like Hajj, right? So the intention's place is your heart, and then everything else would follow. Okay? Yes. By fitrana, you mean breaking the fast?
Yeah, fitrana before the Eid, you have to pay.
You mean the zakat?
Fitr.
You mean the zakatul fitr? So what is the question?
The question is this: there is, I have to spend, I have to give over here.
Yeah, the question is, there is a lot of needy people outside of here, like back home in your countries, and do I have the permission or the license that I send my zakatul fitr overseas? That could be possible if everybody who is needy around you is covered. And in our case, they are not covered. In the case of our community, not every needy person is covered. Okay? And that is also true for the money zakat al-mal. the same rule applies. You can only transfer the zakat to some other place if the poor around the community where you live have already been fully covered. Okay, yes.
I have some money which is in my bank, but I have some money which is in here. Can I give the zakat, the money which is in my bank home to the black people, and the money which I have here, to give this to the people who need in my surroundings?
Yeah, the brother is saying, I have some money here and I have some other money in my country back home. Can I use the money back home to pay its specific zakat back home and use the money that is zakatable here to pay zakah here? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. It's like if you have two businesses, one there and one here. It's the same. Yeah, Sheikh Hussein is saying, well, here people have food stamps and other things, right? And over there is no food stamp system. No, there is. There is always sorts of help given to the poor in Muslim nations, and they are managing to do much better than relying on the food stamp here. I need to finish. Okay. So, when you overgeneralize your assumptions, you exclude people who should never be excluded. So, not every poor person here qualifies for food stamps, and food stamps do not buy you all what you need. They buy you certain stuff. Okay? And they do not always cover all your needs. They are just bare bone minimum. So food stamp does not substitute for our zakah going to the poor and the needy. Any other question about fasting or Ramadan? Alaykum salam. Is your fasting accepted on behalf of your parents?
No, your fasting accepted without prayer.
Is your fasting acceptable without doing taraweeh?
Yes.
Fasting is a separate ibadah from taraweeh. Fasting is farida, mandatory. Taraweeh is a sunnah. Okay? So the fasting is rewarded separately and you cannot skip it. But if you don't do taraweeh, it does not take away your fasting. Okay, any other question about fasting or Ramadan or Zakatul Fitr? Okay, we'll take the following 10 minutes to get ready for the prayer, inshallah. كل عام وأنتم بخير. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. As we mentioned, inshallah, tomorrow, 10-15 minutes before Isha, we will have a short reminder of a hadith that I will pick that may help us, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair.